Today I'm going to talk about a piece of off-road recovery gear that you probably don't have in your kit, and this is known as a Round-Sling. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're going to talk about something called a Round-Sling today. And this is something that if you off-road or overland, you probably don't have in your recovery gear, but you should. So first, what is a Round-Sling? And that's what I have here. It is essentially polyester cords, and it's jacketed with this polyester jacket. So the stuff that does the actual work or pulling is inside of this green stuff. The green is just to protect what's inside, so it's very rugged. It's different from, say, a tow strap or even a kinetic rope where the fibers that do the work are exposed. This green is completely protective. It doesn't do the work. The working stuff is inside. Now, what's the whole point of this thing? Well, the main idea behind this is towing or recovery, not necessarily towing, but let's say recovering, that's a better word, recovering off-road when you don't have recovery points. So let's say you see somebody on a trail, whether it's you or somebody else, whatever, and they don't have recovery points. They may not have, front recovery point, rear recovery point, whatever. They just have their car or their truck, whatever, and that's it. This is where this comes in handy. Now, disclaimer. There's many ways to do this. This is not a one-size-fits-all. This is the magic, thing or whatever. Instead, this is simply something that you can add to help you out in a situation where you come across someone that doesn't have recovery points. Or if you do have recovery points, you still may want to carry these because you may get stuck in a predicament where those recovery points aren't easily accessible. All right, so how do you use the thing? Let's get straight to it. So as you can see here, it's one big loop. So there's no open ends. And the idea of it is you take it, and let's pretend this thing, let's say this bar here is your rear axle. So you see a 4Runner or a Jeep or another GX on the road. It doesn't have recovery points. Here you come along with your Round-Sling, and what you're going to do is just take and then work it around your axle here, the rear axle. Okay, and since it's doubled up, okay, pull it taut like that, and so you'll be pulling from this point here around your axle, and then where my hands are here is where you're going to put your shackle, whether it's a steel shackle, put it here, or a soft shackle, put it here, and then hook this end up to however you're going to pull. And you can pull against the axle. Now it's the same idea. Pretend this is a control arm. I know it doesn't look like a control arm, but pretend it's a lower control arm, and you can wrap around the lower control arm the same way. So you can come up with all sorts of creative ideas to use this around common, recovery points when a car doesn't have a proper recovery point. Most notably, again, the rear axle or the front lower control arms. Now, as you can see, it's very flexible, it's lightweight, and like I said in the beginning, it's got that protective sheathing, so you don't have to worry about this getting caught up on anything. Additionally, you don't have to worry about this scratching or damaging the recovery vehicle. So let's say you're going around the rear axle, like we did in our example. So I'm going to take my end, go around the rear axle, okay? And pull it out, pull this end out where my hands are towards where I'm going to go, pull it tight. But now there's a gas tank right here, under the gas tank is above the axle is the gas tank. And some of them are plastic or weird or low hanging. You might have brake lines, hydraulic lines, etc. under there. If you had a chain or something else and you pull on this, it could damage the gas tank. And this won't do that because it's soft flexy stuff. You won't damage the gas tank. Also, when you come out towards the rear bumper here on this side, You don't have to worry about this banging up against the plastic. This is not going to harm the plastic. So it can rub and touch all at once, and it's not going to damage anything under the car or vehicle to be recovered. Now, let's say you're on the front control arm and you're pulling you're pulling from the front. You got your all sorts of components under the front, the tie rod, the ball joints, the upper control arm, brake lines, ABS sensors, etc. Same idea. If you had something else like a chain, you might go ahead and damage all that stuff. So that's another advantage. The other advantage of this is when you pull on your pull end with your shackle, you're not going to bunch anything up. Since the cords are inside here, you can't bunch up your strap, or it's less likely to be bunched up, I should say, to be more accurate. But practically speaking, it's not going to bunch up. It's going to stay like that no matter what you put on that. It's not going to bunch down like a flat strap. If you have a flat strap on here, it's going to actually bunch up, and that reduces its working load limit. Speaking of working load limit, let's talk about it. This strap says it has a few working load limits, most notably 5,300 pounds, and you can double it to 10,600 pounds. So the neat thing about this, if you pull it at what they call vertical style, end to end, it's 5,300 pounds. But if you double it in what they call a basket style, and that's exactly what I was showing you a minute ago, when you're pulling from two ends, then the working load will double to 10,600 pounds. So a whole lot. Furthermore, you can get these in different strengths, and they're relatively cheap. So this is, like a mid-grade one or a light-duty one. They have them in ridiculous capacities. The next level up, I believe, is yellow, and that makes this thing even stronger. But since it is a closed loop, most of the time, as soon as you take this and go around something, you're already in what they call the basket configuration or the doubled up configuration. And so now the working load, not the maximum, but the working load limit now is doubled to that 10,600 pounds when I'm pulling this vehicle. So that's a lot when you consider GX weighs what, 6,000 pounds with junk, all aftermarket junk on it. This again is not a one-size-fits-all like all recovery gear. It's just another tool in your kit to help you in weird situations. Now, another way you can go ahead and grab a stuck vehicle is to go around the tire with these things. So that may or may not be okay in the off-road community. I don't know, but these things are used every day in the towing community or the on-road recovery community, whatever you want to call it. What I'm trying to babble here is tow truck drivers pull on the tire all the time. So what they'll do is simply wrap this around the tire, around the back of the tire, in some configuration or another, and then pull, and you can pull against the tire. You can also go within the spokes of the rim. So if you have your vehicle with those big spokes and you got room to snake around the wheel spokes, you can pull against the wheel. It's perfectly fine for the vehicle. It's done all the time, every day in the on-road towing industry. All right, now remember to use common sense. If you put this around your wheel and you have this hooked up to your road, you're pulling the wheel of a stuck vehicle, the stuck vehicle cannot be moving or trying to drive. It's only to just yank it or winch it. Remember, you can hook these up to a winch. So if you're hooked up to the wheel, do not have the other driver moving the wheel. It's just to get you, just to move the vehicle one way or the other by the wheel in a sticky situation. It's not at all, meant to, yank them out while they're revving the engine, because obviously that'll turn the wheel and turn all this, and it's going to be a disaster. So common sense. So again, I think these are a very versatile and useful addition to anybody's collection of off-road recovery stuff. What I like about it and what makes me excited about it is if I run across someone, they don't have recovery points, this thing is so flexible, it can go any which way, you can get them in whatever lengths, all different sizes and strengths. It's protected and jacketed. It's not going to bunch up and reduce the working load limit capacity. And you can get in tight places around the rim, around the control arm, all sorts of weird places and configuration. Just use common sense and look online on different ways people configure these, and you've got a lot of options to get out of sticky and stuck situations. So I hope this rambling made sense. Check them out. They're called Round-Slings. They're not expensive. They're very strong. And these things have been around forever. It's not a new idea. These are in the shipping industry, the rigging industry, the on-road tow industry. It just kind of gets lost in off-road recovery, in my opinion. And it hasn't really been adopted as much in off-road recovery, in my opinion. But hopefully that'll change. So again, check them out. They're cheap. Throw one in the back. And I think you'll find more uses than not. And you'll be pulling this thing out to grab people, and more than you think. So as always, if you found this video helpful or insightful, or if you learned anything, please consider hitting like or subscribe. If for some reason you're super thankful for this video, please hit the super thanks button. Thank you, and have a great, great day.
Knocking the body from the century of the cool cat, dig down with the cling of the hot hat, lift up face, and then they knocking at my door. I've been feeling the boom, it's a little after 4. The rest of what that core was really just for. Yo, pick out the sword and let's go cruising in your Ford. Watch out, yeah, sweet snow is the deal. As she shouted, it's the funky lesson 1 to the grill. I should have known that something wasn't right in walking. The biggity boom was just ticking and clocking. A night boy in plaid is passed from his dad. Another straight in the fight man, but he wasn't from the right clan. To stop all the nonsense, defenses.